After the end of World War I in 1918, the world was left shattered. Millions were dead, economies in ruin, and a fragile peace was imposed by the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. This treaty, intended to ensure peace, instead sowed deep resentment in Germany. Right, so from there, in the 1920s and 30s, Germany struggled under economic hardship. The Great Depression hit worldwide in 1929, and this gave rise to extremist movements. In Germany, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party capitalized on this instability, promising to restore Germany's former glory. By 1933, Hitler became chancellor and soon began imposing a fascist regime. As Hitler rearmed Germany, he defied the treaty, leading to a cascade of aggressive expansion. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and this was the spark that ignited World War II. Britain and France, bound by treaty, declared war, and soon the conflict spread across Europe. Over the next years, battles raged in France, North Africa, and eventually the Soviet Union. In 1941, the U.S. entered after Pearl Harbor, and by 1944, the Allies landed at Normandy. Exactly. After the Normandy invasion in June 1944, the tide began to turn. Allied forces pushed inland, liberating Paris by August. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, fierce battles like Midway and Iwo Jima brought the U.S. closer to Japan. As the Soviets advanced from the east, Germany collapsed in May 1945, and Japan surrendered after the atomic bombings in August. After the war, the world was reshaped. Europe divided, the UN formed, and the Cold War began. Perfect. After the war, the world was split into two blocks. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, leading to a tense Cold War. Eastern Europe fell under Soviet influence, while Western Europe rebuilt with American aid, like the Marshall Plan. In Asia, decolonization took off. India gained independence, and soon many African nations followed. The war left scars, but also set the stage for new global organizations, and a struggle for power that would define the second half of the century. Absolutely. As the Cold War unfolded, the world saw a series of proxy conflicts: Korea, Vietnam, and later Afghanistan, as the US and USSR competed for global influence. Meanwhile, technological and cultural revolutions unfolded. Nuclear arms races, the space race, and the rise of the United Nations as a forum for peace. By the late 20th century, the Soviet Union collapsed, and the world entered a new era, one shaped by globalization, human rights movements, and a redefined balance of power. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, because they wanted to neutralize the U.S. as a strategic threat in the Pacific. Japan was pursuing an imperial expansion, seeking to dominate Southeast Asia, and they knew that a surprise attack would give them time to secure resources before the U.S. could respond. This attack ultimately brought the U.S. fully into the war. D-Day, or Operation Overlord, took place on June 6, 1944. It was the largest amphibious invasion in history. American, British, and Canadian forces landed on 5 beaches in Normandy, facing heavy German defenses. After intense fighting, the Allies established a foothold, which became the turning point that led to the liberation of Western Europe. So after D-Day, and as the war in Europe turned in the Allies' favor, the focus shifted to the Pacific. The U.S. began a campaign of island hopping, seizing strategic islands toward Japan. In 1945, after heavy battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa, the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August, prompting Japan's surrender and effectively ending World War II.